If you ask me that is it possible to learn English speaking without spending money, then my answer will be yes, it is possible to learn English speaking without spending money. And I am the result, okay? Because when I started learning English speaking, that time I could not speak a single sentence in English. I felt shy. I was afraid of English speaking. But now, as you can hear and as you can watch my videos, I can speak in English easily. But I'm not a fluent English speaker. I make a lot of mistakes while speaking. But I don't afraid of making mistakes because making mistakes is a part of English speaking. If you are afraid of making mistakes, if you don't make mistakes, then it will be impossible for you to learn English speaking. So, dear brothers and fellow English learners, please fasten your seatbelts because today in this video I am going to share with you the most important strategy or steps to learn English speaking without spending money. Well, if you follow the right strategy and if you use the free resources from online, then you can learn English speaking without spending money. Well, even I did the same thing. I followed the same strategies because I didn't have enough money to spend, and I decided to learn this language without spending money. And you can see the result. I'm speaking in English, but when I started, that time I couldn't speak a single word in English. So, without any further delay, let's start today's video. Well, if you want to learn English for free and without spending money, then you have to find your why first, because if you don't have any reason to learn this language, then it will be so difficult for you to learn this language for free, I mean without spending money. But if you have a specific reason, if you have a strong reason to learn this language, then you can learn this language for free. I had strong reason because I wanted to change my life. You know, when I started learning English speaking, before then, I was a lazy person. I was a comfort lover person. And that time, I used to play video games a lot. I used to watch movies a lot. And I didn't like to work hard. But when I got realized that I am a middle class person, and if I don't take any decision to change my life, then no one would come forward to change my life. And if I don't take any decision to change my life, then I will remain a loser throughout my life. I couldn't understand what to do, what not to do, because I had a lot of dreams, and every dreams require money to be fulfilled, and that's why I wanted money. But I hadn't any good skill. I was not good in studies, and I hadn't enough money to start a business. That's why I was thinking what to do, what not to do. And that time I came across a video, and that video was a success story of a girl. And in that video, a girl shared her success story, and she was succeed because she learned English. And that time she was earning more than 1 lakh in a month because of learning English language. And that time I deeply thought about this topic. I mean, I deeply thought about English, and then I realized, yes, English has the power to change my life. I thought that yes, English would have more demand in future. Now it is becoming true because every private companies or everywhere English is required. And in 2025, the person who has good command in English is prioritized more than the other people who haven't good command in English. And the person who has good command in English is getting more salary than the other people. Okay, so except this reason, there are thousands of reasons to learn this language. I'm really sorry because I'm getting out of my path. I told you that I will share with you how to learn English speaking for free, but I'm sharing my own experience now. But I think my story or my experience will help you. Okay, you can learn a lot of things from my experience. I'm not sure, but maybe. So what I was talking about, I was talking about the why. You have to find out your why. If you don't have any specific reason, if you don't have any strong reason, then you can't learn this language for free. So first, find your reason. I mean, why? If you found your reason, I mean, why, then it will be easier. Your journey will be easier. Once you find your why, then made a promise to yourself, as like I made a promise to myself that I have to learn this language anyhow. And this was my promise to myself that I would learn this language anyhow. And until I learn this language, I won't stop learning. I won't stop practicing English. And that's why only for my dedication towards this language has brought me in this position. Maybe I'm making mistakes, but I don't care. Just try to understand my message and ignore everything. After making promise to yourself, then the next step comes. And the next step is build your vocabulary. Maybe you don't have good command in English vocabulary. Maybe you don't know all the objects name in English. Maybe you don't know everything's name in English. If you think or if you realize that you have lacks of vocabulary, then start memorizing or learning vocabulary. What type of vocabulary? For example, this is called Punjabi. This is called beard. This is called mistake. This is called door. So make sure you know every object's name in English. Make sure you know all the verbs that are used in daily life. Okay? So because these are important to speak in English, I think you have understood what type of vocabulary you have to build first or learn first. Okay? Next step, the most important step is practice speaking. Nothing is beyond English speaking. If you want to learn this English language and if you don't want to speak in this language, then it will be impossible for you to become fluent in this language, because fluency required speaking, speaking and speaking. If you don't speak, you can't become fluent in English. If you don't speak, it will be impossible to speak in English, because without speaking in English, it is unimaginable to speak in English. If you are capable to speak a sentence in English, then start English speaking from that day, okay? Because the more you speak, the better you'll become in English. Answer my question. Why you want to learn this language? Because you want to speak in this language. So everyone's purpose of learning this language is speaking. Everyone want to speak in English. If you want to learn this language, practice, practice and practice. Only practice can bring fluency to you. Okay? So start speaking from today. And there are so many types of speaking practice. Well, I followed 3 types of speaking practice. First one and the initial one. Try to talk to yourself. Okay? When I started learning English speaking, that time I talked to myself, okay, and I hadn't anyone, and I was an introvert, and that's why I feel shy to speak with other people, especially in English. And as it was about speaking in English, I was afraid of. I was nurturing shyness inside of me, and I was also an introvert. And an introvert cannot speak in Bangla with others. They feel shy. So let alone speaking in English with others. Oh, it is unimaginable. And it was same for me, because I also afraid of speaking in English with others. Okay. And that's why I started speaking or talking to me when I started learning English speaking. So start with this. Start talking to yourself in English. Now, the next type of speaking that I followed, I mean, that I practiced, that is, I described my surrounding, what I was watching, what I was looking at. I was talking about in detail about everything. So you can do the same thing, because this thing will help you to become fluent in English. I mean, it will help your mouth to become familiar, to get familiar with the English language. Okay. Next, the pro tips. I mean, I never heard from anyone who practiced this tip. I mean, this thing. So I made a situation. Sometimes I closed my eyes and made a situation. I was thinking, yes, this is happening in front of me. So as this is happening, I have to speak. I have to say this situation in English. Then I spoke about the situation. Okay. So you can make situation. I mean, you can imagine a situation, then speak about that. Okay. So that's how I practice English speaking. So let's jump into the next step. In this step, you have to learn grammar. If you are not good in grammar, learn basic grammar like tense, voice, or verbs or preposition. Okay, verbs and preposition are parts of speech, but these are most important parts of speech. Learn those type of grammars that are essential for making common sentences. Okay, and if you are already good in grammar, then you can easily make sentences, but maybe it may takes time, I mean more time, but you can make sentences in English. Then just practice English speaking. Okay, now let's jump into the last step of this video of my key strategies. The last step is watch, listen, and repeat, which is called shadowing technique. Okay, when you do shadowing, you can learn other people's accent. For example, American people has an accent which is called American accent. For example, British people has their own accent which is called British accent. Canadian people has accent which is called Canadian accent. So when you watch, listen, and repeat a person, then you can learn their own accent. Here I have a suggestion. The suggestion is, if you are listening a foreigner people, I mean listening is important, because without listening you can't improve your listening skill, and listening skill is important because if you can't understand other people, then how will you answer their question? Well, yes, it is mandatory to understand other people. So that's why try to develop your listening skill. And how can you develop? You can develop by listening more and more. And when you listen, try to listen and a specific accents video. For example, you can follow American accent. I mean, you can listen American accent. You can listen British accent if you prefer British accent more than American accent. I mean, it's your choice. If you like or prefer American accent, then go for American accent. Or if you prefer British accent, then go for British accent. So these are the very steps that I followed to learn this language, and still I am following these steps and strategies to developing my accent and fluency.